Hello, and welcome to the podcast There Are No Good Games, where we discuss our opinions on past, present, and future games, as well as a whole load of other filler to keep us sane while we wait for a good game to play. Let's begin.
So, one of the things I want to talk about is The Sims, because The Sims is one of those things that I keep coming back to, and I feel like there's so much to unpack from it that it requires a large-scale discussion. You've got the four main games that are out now. You've got this kind of spin-off games on like console and mobile. So I think this is quite a big deal to discuss on a podcast like this. So we're lucky by this because we have a guest on for the first time on an episode, an expert you could call it. Hayley is here, who has been brought up on the podcast before by Tristan. So you are a Sims expert, are you not, Hayley?
I would like to think I am. I think I've got something like 350 hours logged in the game. I was checking this yesterday.
Just the Sims 4. Just the
Sims 4. Like just to call out. Yeah. Just specifically Sims 4.
That's big.
I don't know across all Sims, but I imagine, I don't know if I'm being generous, probably 500 hours total.
That is probably I would say that's generous. I would consider myself over 1,000 hours of Sims total time, I would say.
Would you actually? Oh.
I probably would do, yeah. Yeah. It's quite crazy, isn't it? Because I played every single like mainstream PC one. I've also did like some like of the spin-off ones, like the original like Sims Online.
Okay. I think I skipped a few in the middle then.
Yeah, there was some like there was one on like, as I said, console, which I can't remember the name of. It was like Sims Breaking Out or something like that. Or
Yeah,
it's one of those.
Breakout, something like that.
Yeah. It was like one of those
talking
ones.
about.
Yeah, so I played quite a lot of Sims and My Sims as
Busting
well.
Out.
I love Busting Out. That's the one. But I also like My Sims and stuff like that. It is called Busting Out. It is. Yeah. It's like, wait, but you only like, yeah. Anyway, we'll come on to that in a second. So I'd say
I digress.
I have thousands, but you were the expert. Into I would say you know I think you're here for a reason, and that's to bring some sense to the discussions that Tristan and I normally have, and in particular this game, which you're much more knowledgeable at as well. Tristan, how many hours in Sims would you say you have?
Probably shy of like 100 hours.
That's pathetic.
That is pathetic. This is why we actually brought someone who knows what they're talking about for once. Yeah.
I don't know. Like I think for me, I got into The Sims when it was Sims 3 because
which was arguably the worst one.
Yeah. Okay. That's gonna okay. So we're gonna really put this discussion started off strong. Okay,
I'm sorry.
Okay, Tristan, keep going. So you started Sims
continue.
3.
Sorry.
I started on The Sims 3. So prior to that, I played The Sims around my friend's house at his farm, and we played Sims 1 and 2. And that's where I got into The Sims, because we would wake up on a Saturday, play The Sims, and then play it until when my parents arrived to take me home. And that was kind of it. And then I think eventually I got my own laptop, and I was like, ooh, The Sims 3 just came out. Because I think when you play The Sims 1 and The Sims 2, it's quite daunting, because it's like Sims expansion pack, and it's a lot harder to kind of get into. So I got The Sims 3, and then, that was it. That's how I got into my Sims addiction. And then The Sims 4 came out. I was like, oh, that's a fun game. Just kind of mess around at university with. And then, met Hayley, and then it's no longer my EA account.
Yeah, she's taken over, it really, hasn't she?
Just to say,
The Sims 3 did come out in 2009. So it has been a while since 2009, to be fair. So, you know, your timeline is good. But if we count me, I played Sims 1, and that came out in 2000. Yeah, so yeah. Do you know what's crazy, actually, thinking about it, just realizing, is that the difference between the timeline between Sims 1 and Sims 3 coming out is quite small, right? And we're currently in Sims 4, and that came out in 2014, so only 5 years after Sims 3. We're still going strong on The Sims 4. They said they're bringing lots more stuff out, and that was 10 years ago. That's the longest gap of Sims game we've ever had.
I think so I'm on the Wikipedia at the moment. I think the difference is, if you look at the Sims 3 era, as they call it in Wikipedia, the amount of expansions, stuff pack, DLC worlds, compilation packs is just ridiculous, because it's even got medieval and stuff. And you look at Sims 4, and it's just starting to build that repertoire, even though I think it is like a a reverse
I mean,
pyramid? Like,
start.
I don't think so. I think how about? Do you know how many expansion? How many expansion packs are there now? Sims 4.
Literally, Sims
no,
4
but that's what I'm
invented
saying.
like the cash grab.
I think it's like a reverse pyramid is what I'm trying to get at. Sorry.
What do you mean?
Like Sims 1 has little content, Sims 2 has more content, Sims 3 has a lot.
No, like it definitely scaled over time.
I just would like to point out that there's 15 Sims 4 expansion packs. Okay.
Yeah.
There's nowhere near that many. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Sims 3 expansion packs. We're going to get another 2, perhaps 3 expansion packs this year. Bear in mind, there were 3 expansion packs came out last year just for the Sims 4. They also have all the stuff packs, which didn't really exist too much in Sims 3. It started. It's like when it started to become a thing. And we also have all the game packs as well, which are now like mini expansions, and we have kits. We have more content than ever before in The Sims 4, and you just said we're just starting out.
No, sorry. I mean, it's like it's still going strong. What I mean is like it's like a reverse pyramid of like Sims stuff, right? So like Sims 4 is going to keep on going. Upside down pyramid, like it's heavy on top, light on the bottom. Like if you look at the packs and stuff, Sims 4 has got the most, Sims 3's got a lot, and then Sims 2's got not that much, and then Sims 1's got like none at all in comparison. Do you get what I'm saying?
Comparison. Yeah, but I mean,
quite the image you're drawing.
Yeah,
I'm drawing on paper as well, so yeah.
How you've explained that is basically that The Sims 4 has been out for longer, has more expansion packs. The other ones were just starting out, so they didn't know what to put in them, which is normal from the age of game of 2000. You've also got to remember
early 2000s time.
In those times as well.
Back in the day.
Back in my day, you didn't have that much space on a PC. You wouldn't be able to store all the expansion packs that we have now on those kind of PCs. Especially if the gamer of today, where you've played multiple games, and so there's no way that would be possible without the kind of hardware changes we've got now. So that makes sense. But so you played Sims 3. So Hayley, you started when? Which one?
I started original Sims, so Sims 1. Very similar story, like friend's house. They had a computer, which was a novelty back in the day, which means I'm fucking old. But oh yeah, what's the swearing policy on here?
Well,
you can swear as long as you don't say the big one.
The C word?
There's only one big one.
Yeah. As long as you don't say cunt, you're all fine. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
We can edit that bit out.
Yeah. you mean I can edit that one out? So yeah, it's fine.
Tristan be
It's an adult podcast. You can say all the swears apart from cunt.
I don't think you can say that, because if you call it an adult podcast, I think that defines.
Then we get put in a different category.
No, but okay, sorry. It's for an adult audience. There we go. Versus an adult podcast.
Mature rated.
Mature.
T for teen. All right. Anyway, keep going.
I digress. Anyways, went to a friend's house. They had Sims. They had the expansion pack, which at the time was this whole separate disc that you had to put in of Hot Date, and that's essentially where my love of The Sims began. And then there was a small in between where I had a pretty strict upbringing from my mother, so she was not into the computer game. So then it sort of went Sims 1 straight to Sims 4.
Wow. That's a big jump.
It was a very big jump.
Do you think that's why you have so many hours in Sims 4?
Honestly, that's probably why. I'm like,
it's like when you're a kid, you're not allowed chocolates the first time you buy it. So I feel like I can buy so much chocolate.
Yeah, genuinely. I think that's what happened. I saw Sims 4 and I was like, damn, they've really upgraded this game.
From the 2D graphics we used to have, isometric.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah, and you couldn't. When I think about the fact that you had one view, and then, I mean, I do miss. Stuff. Yeah, I do miss some of the specific elements of the first Sims, but I think that's just.
This is one of my first points I wanted to discuss, and that is simplicity. Because one of the things I have a problem with is that complexity in video games is good. However, what isn't so good is like overly complex stuff, right? So I made a note here, okay? That's the thing I got here. I did like a little thing. Here we go. Right. So complexity without being complex, okay? So in my mind, complexity doesn't come with lots of different features, okay, which is what we do get in The Sims. We do get lots of different features. It should come from key outline core features which allow significant depth without being confused in understanding, okay?
Wow.
So, I know, this is my game developer talk. Here we are.
I was going to say.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
No problem.
What I mean by this is that if you think about The Sims, it adds all these features which it thinks that's how you get complexity, that's how you get enjoyment, because people feel like they've got lots to do. But that's not the case. In fact, I think it's a negative because you have all these features that haven't been fleshed out properly and haven't been explained properly. And then suddenly you're jumped with them and then you don't know what they do. And in theory, they're not actually complex features because they're not got any depth to them. Once you understand them, they're like, oh, okay, that's it. But they're just so annoying because you've got so many of these things across the screen. So the other day we were playing and we had this quest system that was suddenly added to the game. I don't know when it was. And it just adds it and it just gives you items for doing like the most random things possible.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it because, like you said, one of the joys about Sims is like it's not hard. Like it's very intuitive in the sense of just you're just living your life or living somebody else's life in a simulation. So fundamentally, there shouldn't really be any game mechanics involved unless you're I don't know, doing something really complicated but you choose to do. But at its core, it's a very simple game. I don't understand why they put in all of this extra crap, which we found out, I don't know, whatever it was, like a week ago.
A couple of weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah. Which clearly happened within the last year because that's how long it's been since I've opened The Sims.
The binge, returned, yeah.
Yeah, the binge came back. I don't know who complained to EA that, Sims was too complicated, but it's probably one of the worst features that I've seen added to a game.
And do you know what's funny about it is that, last night I spent a bit of time playing The Sims
Just some research.
Again, even though it had only been a week since last play, to get some research in. And there's actually a setting to turn it off. Thank God, because there's so many things in this game where you can't turn off. Yeah, but it's considered a tutorial system.
I was going to say, that's what it feels like when you play it, though. It's like, how to teach you the fundamentals and basics.
It's a shocking tutorial system.
But I feel like...
Yeah, but there isn't I think the old Sims used to do like, oh, you're John. John needs to go use the bathroom. Go buy a bathroom and make a bathroom. Then you'd be like...
different. It's still... But that's in some way slightly different. That's more like a hint system of which you can easily know and understand this tutorial and turn off, right? Because I think it auto turns off once you've done that section, right? In fact, The Sims 1, just quickly on The Sims 1, the way they do their tutorial system is insanely good compared to any Sims we've had since.
Yeah, but
I feel like it should be an option, though.
Yeah. Yeah. But it turned it on. So that turns on, when we played, that turned on automatically this like tutorial quest system thing. It didn't explain really what it was, but you can turn it off and it stays turned off across playthrough. So once you've turned it off, it doesn't come back on. But why it's on by default for people who've played the game before, I'm not entirely sure. It's also really weird, like the rewards you get are like instant happiness gratification potion or like instant hunger. Like it's so odd because I don't know really, like for that system, right? This is another like complex system, which is like the aspiration system. But this is actually even the aspiration system. It's like the point system, the Sims point system, right? So you get point. You have like your Sim has a thought of like, I want to have breakfast, right? Whatever. So then you like, okay, I'm going to make my Sim have breakfast and it gives me 30 Sim point things, right?
Yeah.
Then you spend that on certain things once you've accumulated so much. And the lower cost ones are like potions, like this instant gratification healing and stuff like that. But it's kind of like, why? I don't know when I would want that unless I was in like my Sim was in such a bad mood. I had to resort to buying it to make it work, right? I'm not buying any of that stuff. I'm going to buy like the later ones, which is like you don't need to sleep as much or a money tree or those kind of things. Although I'm not a fan of the money tree personally, but that's again a personal preference. But like, I'm big on those ones where like I feel like, yeah, my Sims lived enough because they've done these things so I can spend the points on things that benefit them long term instead
of
keeping
them alive longer.
Buy this weird magic potion thing. Yeah, like that's that potion you can spend, which renews your life. It returns it back to the start of like adulthood, like the phase.
Yeah, the potion of youth. So it keeps you in like an age range. That one's excellent.
That one's okay. That kind of makes sense because that means I want although you can turn off aging in the settings, that means like, actually, do you know what? This makes more sense. Like, I feel like my life is extended because I've lived well, or, you know, I've filled aspiration points. I'm happy. That kind of fits together. But the rest of it, it's like so complex. Like, what are these potions? What's all this other nonsense that just doesn't make any sense? It doesn't explain it very well either. And then in The Sims 4, they have the secondary system, which is like, when you create your Sims, like, I want to be the head chef, right? Or whatever, culinary. And that means you want to get to level 10. But along the way, you've got to do loads of other weird things like cook 3 brownies and do this and read a cookbook or whatever. It's like really weird things that don't like that. Yeah, I guess fill up a journey. But where's the player doing their own thing? They just follow these steps, which are always the same. They're not random. It's not like it brings it from a random pool of things to do. It's always the same thing. It's really odd in comparison to past Sims.
So you want more of like a rogue-like experience where every time you redo a career, it's different when you enter it? Is that what you're saying?
Not the career, the aspiration. So I was just giving an example of one of the aspiration. Like, one of the other aspirations, which is in the new expansion, which is like, you want to run your own market stall or something like that. Now, I haven't chosen it, so I don't know exactly what's in it. But along the way, there'll be loads of weird stuff. Like, one of them will be like, you have to go buy a thing from another market stall, probably to get in this storyline to get an idea what a market stall does. There's like all these things. You know, I think all of them like do fit around careers, but like even like gardening, it's like, I want to plant this many different types of plants. Probably I need to do this. I need to weed this many times. There's all those kind of things. It's just like, it's really, really weird. But what I mean is, like, every time you play that character and you choose aspiration, you have to follow those exact steps to get the aspiration points in that area.
Okay, so you mean like the goals? Yeah, I see what you mean.
Those like goals, that's it. Yeah, but they're the same time. But at least if I was like, you know, chose Master Chef, which is not called that, it's culinary something or other. Like, at least then it could pick random things to give me ideas. You know, so I'm not having to do the same. If I do play another Sim who wants that aspiration, at least I'm like, oh, it's asked me to do different things related to cooking instead of I'm just following the same steps all over again, like I did with my other Sim.
Yeah.
But again, that's like that's the problem. That's like a complex system that has been, like, it's not complex because it doesn't do all those things I just said. That would have made it more complex and good. It's just complex because it's just random. There's just too many things. It's a separate system to the other aspiration point system.
True.
You're basically annoyed at the fact there's too much breadth but not enough depth in each of the systems, and some of them are just very shallow, right?
Yeah, I think there's too many shallow systems. There's too many shallow systems that try, and the complexity comes from there being too many, or many of them. Sorry, not too many. That's the wrong way. The complexity in their design comes from having lots of these systems, rather than having really strong, complex depth systems that make it better to play through, basically.
I don't think it's complex. I think it's just like it's not properly melded into like the ecosystem. There's a lot of like things to do and a lot of conflicting things. Like you said, the tutorial makes you like go make a phone call. You've also got like the weird social bunny thing where you can post your feelings and thoughts and expressions.
That is, again, one of the worst fucking additions they did. Weird.
But like, it doesn't seem to add up to anything. Like, I think I'm doing like the streamer one, the streamer career, and it's just very like you said, there's no depth to it. There's just a lot of like.
But that's the thing. The complexity comes from having those systems, right? Rather than them being 3 good systems. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's that's how a game is made. Like I said, so I've started off with complexity. It's like the first point about the Sims, and like us comparing complexity. Yeah. But like, we're just talking about Sims 4. Like, we're not even talking about like Sims 3, for example. Like, what did you like about the Sims 3, Tristan, that made you get into the series and continue? You know?
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like, it is interesting with that sort of stuff. Or was that a genuine question you had?
That is a genuine question.
Okay.
Genuine question, Tristan.
Sorry, I thought it was more of like an example. So, I think for me, I enjoyed The Sims because it's the classic making your character, then making the house, and then slowly upgrading it over time.
Really? You like the house?
I think the house is fine. Like,
nah, you got it in the way we all did. It's basically the ability to make characters woohoo in a game.
Money.
Let's be honest. It was the first. It's the first game where you had that option.
I think for me it was just more like, this is the character I want to be and this is kind of what I want to do, and then it was just like the idea of like living in the house of other people and just doing fun stuff like that. That was it for me, at least. And then
adorable.
And then when Sims 3 came out, I was like, this looks really fun. And then it was like the city living stuff, and like the DLC worlds and all that sort of stuff. So that was really cool. Yeah, that's the one that I did. Or like I think at the time, me and my friends did the. It was like he would make me out like we'd make each other, and then we'd
That's
play
a dangerous game.
No, you got. I mean, like we'd like I'd make myself and he'd make himself, and basically we would like go off and live in the household together, and it'd be like I would control my actions and he would control his actions and stuff. It was kind of cool.
How did you take turns for that?
Seriously.
It was like I'm gonna line up 2 or 3 actions, pause. I'd line up 2 or 3 actions, and then go from there. I remember the
You
most
guys just like
turn
jump from
based
chair to chair. Oh my god!
It was like
yeah.
we were sat next to each other, like looking at the monitor, like glued to it. And I remember the saddest of all moments was when my character in a kilt caught on fire, and there was a lady screaming that I was on fire, but she was in the middle of the doorway, so no one could get through to extinguish me. But instead, she was just screaming about how I was on fire. And then I eventually died, and it was much sad.
What's the name of that? You know, like where it's like you know, like people when something happens, people just stand there like gawping. People, there's like a name for like people who just stand around and do nothing.
Yeah.
It's like people that watch a car crash or some shit.
And they
Yeah,
don't.
no, but like that's what happened. Like if you imagine it, it was like in the room there was like an island, or like we designed the kitchen, and she was literally stood there, and she was screaming, and the rest of the other area was on fire. Because it was on fire, you couldn't delete it in build mode, so we had to just hit play and just watch my character just be on fire for like 5 minutes. And she was like, "Oh my god, he's dying! Look, he's dying!" And it was just like, right, but move. And she's like, "But look, he's dying!" And there was like 3 other characters with like fire extinguishers, being like, "I can't move through there because there's a woman in there screaming." So yeah, and then I remember I died because I just was like a bottle of ash, and I think at like Sims 1 or Sims 2, the Grim Reaper just hoovers you up, or like sweeps you into like a jar.
you.
I think he like hoovers you, or he like
That's
sweeps you
too,
into like a
maybe.
jar.
There's something like it. Yeah, but that's the thing. Well, this actually comes down to another point I want to make, is that all the different games have their own charm in a different way. Like they're all designed slightly differently. Obviously, Sims 3, its open world is its own charm, and a lot of people like that. I mean, I didn't not like it at the time, but I actually do, in comparison, I do prefer the kind of lot-based closed-off section. And actually, the mix that Sims 4 has, which is like you've got this kind of overall area, which could be bigger, overall area that you can still explore outside of your home, and then go to another lot. You can still easily click on it in the area. Now, is it perfect? Absolutely not. It was clearly built for a different online-based system, which they trashed after the SimCity, and that's what caused it. But I think the open world was too much, and I wasn't a massive fan of it in the end.
I preferred it. I'm not gonna lie. Like it felt more like lifelike. And like you said, The Sims 4 lets you do that to a degree. You can leave your house, and if you're in the right spot in the city, you can hang out with other Sims. But yeah,
the only problem with Sims 4's system is that it still has those little, like, I don't know what you call them, like little neighborhoods. Let's go. I mean, you've got the big neighborhoods, right, which is the whole map for that thing. But like these sub neighborhoods, effectively, like the problem is if you want to visit your neighbor Jimmy's house, you click on it, and in theory, it should not be going to a loading screen. It should just be unloading quickly your house, let's say, and then loading in through a file. It's literally just reading a file of their house
Jimmy's
layout.
house like.
Yeah, what Jimmy's house looks like, and maybe where Jimmy currently is in that house, right? If you're invited in, and it should not take that long. It should be almost, with current hardware, it should be almost instantaneous, right?
Yeah.
And that is the problem, is that if they didn't have that loading screen, I don't think people would have cared. I think people would have moved on and go, this is a different type of open world. Yes, it's not as big, but actually there was a kind of element to where you'd get lost in this massive open world that The Sims 3 had, and actually it kind of caused too many problems with that. It wasn't focused enough in your area. And yeah, if Sims 4 removed that, it would be much better. It would solve a lot of problems, in my opinion. But that's why I liked Sims. I argue Sims 2 was one of the best Sims, in my opinion, because although it did a lot of things right, it kept the charm that still existed. It built on the charm that Sims 1 has. But I think a lot of the charm has been lost since Sims 3. Like, as in, like, Sims 3 started losing some charm, and now I'd say a lot of it is gone from what used to exist from it. So an example would be like, well, I think in Sims 1, one of the biggest, and Sims 2, one of the biggest things was that things happened around you, right? Is that
absolutely. I miss that so much.
Yeah, like your story, like a problem with The Sims 4, and people are again going to disagree with this kind of narrative of the way I'm explaining it, but there is a huge problem with Sims 4 is where you are actually always in control of what happens, and it's actually bad for gameplay because the personality of the previous first two games, was that you had these townies that would basically, they had their own life. They would feel alive. They would do some random stuff, sometimes, but that was part of the charm. It felt more immersive, like real life, where you are not the main. There's a main character syndrome in Sims 4 more than there are in the other games, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, like I think some of the expansion packs for 4 sort of fixed, well, not fixed it, but added back in some of those elements. Like I remember the vampire pack. Some vampire just breaks into your house like one of the first days you're there, which is sort of a random element. But yeah, I miss like used to be able to get robbed on the street if you didn't put like an alarm system in your house. Raccoons used to go through your trash, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like there's just like the clown. I mean, they did have the clown back in before, but like it used to come up when you were sad, and you'd have to then literally call like a special agent to come remove the clown. Like that's charm. Yeah, is it realistic? No, it's not. But the Sims wasn't meant to be fully like a realistic sim. Like if it was based on real life, it'd be the most miserable game ever, right?
Yep.
You've got to add those personality features. And I think, yes, expansions have added features that are like magic, werewolves,
Star Wars,
potentially fairies coming later this year. Like there's a whole
really?
We'll come on to that later on in the podcast.
Okay.
Of the future of The Sims. But the thing is, like, there's all these like random stuff which do add charm back into it, and that kind of it adds less realism. But I think there's a limit to it. Like there's only so much I can take of like, I don't want this in my game. It just adds too many random things, because then suddenly you're playing your game and then a werewolf is suddenly just walking by your house and knocks on your door, and you're like, what the hell is this? Like that's too out there. Like that's like completely opposite what you want. It removes from the feeling of the game. It's kind of like I haven't bought the Star Wars pack because I'm afraid I'll literally to be trying to play the game and not even thinking about Star Wars, and suddenly Count Dooku would turn up. Yeah, or Jabba the Hutt would turn up at my doorstep, like wanting to talk to me, and just like ruin that side of the immersion. And that's slightly different. And so that's why like I haven't bought that pack or the werewolf expansion game pack, because I don't want those. Although I do have the vampire one, because I think
I was going to say, I don't want a werewolf, but you have the vampire, because that's more in the realism of your head.
But they've actually solved it where you don't always have the vampire turn up.
Or do you not?
You have to. No, you kind of have to like look out for it now, which is good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like obviously at the time it was a bit annoying where like literally day one he tries to break in your house, and if you let him in, you're going to become a vampire. But
I think that's what happened anyway, right? Because we played it a couple of years ago, and we're like, oh, it's really fun. And literally, I think your character went to bed day 1 or night 2 or something.
Yeah, it was night 1.
And literally cracked open the door. It was like,
it was a scripted thing. Yeah, it was a scripted thing. That happened every time you started a new character. But it's like that's what's not good. Like it shouldn't be scripted. It should have been one of those random events that has like a every night at 3:00, the witching hour. There's a 5% chance it happens or something like that. Like kind of like the burglar was in The Sims 1. But we don't have those like random events. They're all anything that really happens like that is kind of scripted.
The only one that wasn't super scripted, I forget what expansion pack it was, is whenever they introduced aliens in Full Throttle. Get to Work, I think, maybe.
Yeah, it's Get to Work. I'm looking at the achievements on like the slide at the moment. And Get to Work.
Are you getting arrested? What's happening?
I don't know. There's just apparently
we're in the same house, and I don't have somebody.
I've got the window open, that's why. No, so apparently Get to Work, it's there's aliens because you can be abducted. You can have an alien in disguise marry a sim without knowing their secret. Have a male sim give birth to a baby alien. So yeah, there you go.
But I don't know. That one was all right.
Sims from like base game were like stargazing or using your telescope. It had a percentage chance that you'd be abducted by aliens, right? Same things for like dying of electricity and stuff like that. There were all those kind of ones that now you literally cannot die unless you make it happen. right? If you're
Oh, and you can even prevent your own death now. Like previously, it was sort of like if you accidentally caught on fire, game over.
Yeah. GG.
Yeah, so there's like loads of things that there's too much this sort of thing. The personality of the game has been lost. I'm not entirely sure why. I know how it's happened. Right, is that with these features we're talking about and the removal of some features, but like, why did they go in that direction? They must have made a decision like, we're not adding burglars in this game. We're not adding this.
I want to know who complained and when. You know what? That shit. You know what we should put in? 8,000 tutorials. We should dumb down a game that honestly was never complicated to begin with.
And I think its simplicity is the beauty of The Sims, the original Sims game. Yeah,
absolutely.
I think it may be just like too overwhelming, or maybe, I don't know. When you buy The Sims now, there's like not enough content to kind of get you through all. I don't know. Maybe like you said, there's no.
But the thing is that content. There's so much content, but this is the third point. So we've talked about personality, which is my second point. Now on to the third point, which is
third bullet point.
Disjointed features. Okay, every expansion pack you buy, all the core gameplay mechanics, right, are there. Okay, in that expansion pack. Nothing that connects it. If I buy another expansion pack, that one's forgotten about. It's gonzo. Okay, it's talking about the next thing. Now I've got this horse, right? But if you buy the horse expansion pack, that horse is irrelevant in everything else. You are not taking that horse, and it's not going to be like, you're not going to be able to then have that. There's one of the game packs or expansion packs, which is like the outside island, the island adventures one, whatever it might be called, right? Yeah. Imagine then if it was like, okay, if you have the horse I know it came beforehand, so this is kind of different, but they could retroactively add it back in. They could be like, oh, you can set up your own business, because I have the business expansion pack as well, of allowing people to ride your horse on the beach, right? Which is I think it's an interesting niche idea, but at least it's something that kind of continues the idea of having that horse. It's not just some irrelevant thing that existed for one expansion pack and then it's gone. It's like all the apartments that they added in the city one, right? Again, I don't know why I can't remember all these, because I literally was going through it all yesterday, but they didn't have any apartments in any other thing, and it's not like the apartments was a big deal for that one, because that expansion pack was actually talking about all these jobs you had. So again, it was just like, it was so weird that none of these features carry over. Sure, they reuse stuff, which is fair enough, like the market stalls they added in the city one, now they're using kind of every single one, because there's always something to do there. But again, like, there's just no continuity between all the things, and that is one of my huge things, is that it would be better off if what they did is add core gameplay mechanics to everyone, whether or not you had an expansion pack or not. They add all the core gameplay mechanics there, but the features for that expansion pack, like, for example, you can go on holiday. Okay, so give everyone a single holiday destination, or whatever it might be. It might be just add a system of like going lodge in and you stay there for a couple of days, like it was added in the original game pack for the camping, and it's also continued in some of the other expansion packs and things. And then if you own that one, you can go to that location and do those special things. But they didn't do that. It's just like so random when they add it in and out. It doesn't make any sense.
So you'd prefer the expansions to almost be like there's little tasters or testers or demos of what the full expansion could be like in the base game?
Let's be honest. If you're trying to sell something to me, that would be the perfect thing. It's like, okay, everyone's got a free update where you can go on holiday. Nice. Oh, I can only go to this one lodging area, which is already in this neighborhood. Okay, whatever. But if I buy the expansion pack, I can test out this thing where my Sims can take a vacation days and go on holiday for 3 days, and then I can use it to go camping, or I can use it to go to the island, and I can use it to do this, and that's like a much better system. But if you don't own the camping one and you don't own the island one, you can't like go on a holiday, I don't think, anywhere, like, unless it's like, you just take vacation days where you don't go to work. And so, like, but it's not about the business side of things, of like giving a taster. That's kind of like a side point which would benefit them. But it's like, just what I'm saying is like, there's these features that everything should be a core gameplay feature that everyone gets, and then add on to it. So the Parenthood one is a kind of an example where they did do that, where they added toddlers in the base game and everyone got that. But if you want like all these extra items and better interaction with your toddlers, you have to have the expansion pack, which is kind of a negative because it should have been a base game feature anyway. But that's kind of where they did something close to everyone gets everything here. But to actually get the experiences we want to give you, you've got to buy and pay something.
Yeah.
Tristan's not sold.
Yeah,
No,
I think the apartment one's a better idea. It's like, why do they never just do the apartment ones better?
Yeah.
What do you mean by do the apartment ones better, though?
So, well, I mean, the system in get to rent, okay, or whatever it's called, is so much different.
Hold on, I'm on the expansion page. It's called For Rent. For Rent.
Sorry, For Rent. And the city one is called, what's the city one called?
City Living.
That's the one, right? Like, what they should have, in the City Living, that was the first time you could have like an apartment in like a building, and like you would live opposite someone, right? Why is that system different to the For Rent expansion pack? It's like
how different is it?
So different.
I think it's like
different.
It's the difference of, so for the for rent one, to my understanding, is you can make a house and then split up that house into multiple different apartments, versus the City Living one is like it's treated as different lots. So you can have like 12 people living in the same house, and you can be like the attendant who can go up and down stairs. But in the City Living one, it's just that is your floor and that's it.
Yeah, but you can still work. But the problem is, it's like these sub-regions we're talking about before, like in The Sims 4, it's like there's the apartment opposite you is part of that sub-region. You can walk out the door and then go to like the market stall and stuff.
Yeah.
But that
you can't go into the other apartment.
Yeah, but you can't go in the other apartment. It takes a loading screen. So it's like its own building, but it's separate and you have no control over it, basically. It's just like how it's, and there's different floors to these apartment buildings. So some buildings have like 3 different lots contained within them. But it's a completely and utterly different system to For Rent, right? And it's like maybe after all this time, since this expansion pack first came out, they've changed things and worked out this is better. And it's a hell of a lot better. But it's just like it's all these disjointed stuff because none of it makes sense for it. It's really, really... And actually, it's the same thing in Discover University. They have another entirely new system for that because that's kind of more like For Rent where... you can go into one of the university halls and you have your own room, but then all the rooms are you can walk into any of the rooms. Someone has taken that bed, all right, and that's technically their room, but you then pick one of the random rooms, but you have no like protection over it. Yeah, you can click on the door and go lock just for me, but you know, it's so weird. It's another entirely different system where it tries to do this thing where people live on the same lot as you, have their own room, but again, it's completely different.
Yeah, the university one I thought was the weirdest expansion I've ever
played. You
played.
hated that. You're trying to be very nice, but like you were angry when you bought that.
Yeah, because it was just like there was fuck all to do in it. Like you literally sat in your room, you could go study, you could go do tests, but that's kind of it. You couldn't really do anything else in that entire expansion. Like it just felt like it was an extra city. And it was like, oh, there's 2 universities you can go to, and there was like just no difference.
Do you have a problem with that? Every single Sims, they seem to add the same expansion pack in some way. This isn't always true, but they do this often with stuff like University is an example of that.
I think Ollie's getting the hands on.
I think so as well.
So I think for me, the biggest issue with Sims is like they're very good at rinse and repeating people for the same amount of cash each time. Like if you look at Sims 1, Sims 2, and Sims 3, like Sims 2 is like, sorry, Sims 1 is like Sims Vacation, and then Sims 2 they have Sims like Bon Voyage,
and then Sims 3 the same thing, but like
no, but
I think of it slightly different
content each time, and it's just so like boring and like meh. Like I think the worst thing about Sims 4 was like when it first came out, it was like, oh yeah, you have to buy the ability to have a pool or an outdoors thing. Like that sort of stuff is annoying. Like they just rinse and repeat the same expansion packs and they go, for I don't know, Sims 5, we're going to have a spa day. We're going to do like an outdoor one. We're going to have seasons. And why can't you just include some of that into the base game?
That's the thing. The season thing is like that everyone should get seasons, which maybe they do now.
But no, it's still an expansion.
Well, I know it's just an expansion and you get stuff.
But does everyone
else everyone still get snow? Yeah, I think actually
do they get weather?
You get weather, but you don't get like hot and cold. Does that make sense?
Well, they're not missing much.
It's like the calendar system, right?
Yeah.
Now, that's something that maybe they have done something well, where they added it in, and then depending on what expansion pack you have, it adds stuff to that calendar. However, I still think it's not in the base. If you just own the base game, there is no calendar. It only unlocks if you own one of the expansion packs that contains something calendar related.
Yeah.
It's your computer, man. You should confirm that. Now I'm curious.
Yeah, like we'll have a look and see if it's around. But I think holistically, it's just like.
Do you know what's funny is Sorry, yeah, you go.
You go.
Well, I was just going to raise the point is that there's been 3 university expansion packs. The Sims 1 didn't have one, but it was in 2, 3, and 4. The Sims 2 just called it Sims 2 University. The other one was called University Life, and Sims 4's Discover University. It just goes along the rule they can't name it the same thing. Apart from Seasons, maybe.
Seasons is one of the best ones, to be fair.
Yeah, I think there was like a lot of like content and what to do with that. Like the autumn stuff was kind of nice. The spring stuff and like you had special events and like festivities.
Well, this is what this is what Ollie means in the sense of like it added stuff to your calendar, so you could actually celebrate different things.
Yeah, and you had like Gnome Day and all that sort of stuff, which was always really good.
But in The Sims 2, University was rated, according to Joe Blogs, it was rated the number one, basically. I think it was one of the last ones they did as well for The Sims 2.
Interesting.
It was pretty good. I remember it being quite good in that one, which I think why it's so bad to be disappointed now. Open for Business by far was the best one they added in Sims 2 at the time as well, because that's when you could like run your own whatever shop you wanted. But then again, this is where they've done it well many, many years ago. But in Sims 4, so in Sims 2, you could run a business on your own residential lot, right?
Oh, don't get me started.
Right. And in Sims 4, you can't do that. You have to buy another location for it to be your business. Now listen to this, even with the for rent expansion pack, okay, you can't get one of the other rooms or these other mini lots within your lot, right, to be your business. That's not allowed because those are residential rents. So they didn't even allow it to be like that either, when they probably could have done.
Even if you go into like the settings of the lot.
Yeah, no, you can't because it's like the whole lot. So it has to be like the whole lot, not just like the miniature room flats you've got given.
The lot either has to be like residential or like a shared one or like a business lot. You can't.
But that's why did they create that technicality when they knew it worked well in Sims 2? There was no reason for it when they built it from the ground up for the expansion, for Get to Work. Why? There was no reason for it. Yeah,
no, it's definitely weird. Like, I think one of the most annoying ones that when I think Hayley and I initially got it was like, the Get to Work expansion, where it's like you could start up your own businesses and stuff.
Yeah.
The fact you couldn't make a coffee shop off the bat was so dumb.
Yeah, ironically, the first expansion pack they did, and also clearly good because they know all the other ones were well received when you could run your own business. Ambitions was the second expansion pack of Sims 3 when they added your own business again as well. But it's weird. Crazy. It is weird that now they do follow these things, and I mean they do have the there's some features that I think should just be base game stuff. It shouldn't be expansion, like seasons.
Seasons for sure.
They're gonna milk pets, cats and dogs in Sims 4 every single time.
But it was part of the original base game. I fucking remember it. So the fact that it's an additional thing is a little shit.
It is one of those things where I just think, okay, it is what it is. Like seasons, it's whatever. If you like for seasons, for example, if you want to have an expansion pack which adds a new neighborhood for the seasons and it's all like looks nicer in the seasons, then that's part of the expansion pack. But give the base game the idea that there is a winter, summer, spring, fall kind of system, and they have that, but they don't get all the extra bonuses. Fine. Like, that's what I feel like is the issue with this, is that it's either you own it or you don't.
Yeah, like you just miss out on content if you don't own it. There's no like tease into it. You can't see other people becoming vampires and werewolves. You just have to like own that pack for that
but that makes
event
sense.
And stuff to happen.
I think like the vampires and the magic and maybe the magic, that all those special ones, let's call them, they're slightly different. I think those you have to buy because I can't really imagine what you put in the base game that still makes sense. That's kind of optional. That doesn't ruin someone's gameplay. Like if it's a normal game, they're not going to buy the magic or the werewolf or any of the other magical packs, are they?
Yeah, I'm looking at the expansion packs, and for example, like the Get Famous one. If you ignore all of the elements of it, the main feature they came up with is the fact that if you post online and if you have a social media presence, you then get famous. Or if you paint, you get famous. If you write, you get famous. Like that base element should have been translated into the main game, and I think it only is available if you have that pack.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, like that fame system, which is also utterly rubbish.
Redundant.
So many different fucking things to track.
Yeah. Which is funny because of all the features that they turn on and off, you can turn off the fame system in your game if you own the expansion pack in the settings.
Wait, what?
Yeah, exactly. These are the things I spent time last night in my research making sure. I was like, what can you turn? And this all comes down to when we were playing the other day, and it comes from the Eco Living expansion pack.
I hate. Probably, I'm looking at all of them. Yeah, I think that one's the worst. I don't know what's in that pack that makes it worth it.
Eco Lifestyle, sorry, is what the name of it. Yeah, it's
yeah.
I think the idea is that you can like live off the land kind of thing. Like you can have like your own windmill and solar panels and you can go off the grid, right? Which is kind of cool. I like that idea, right? But it adds this like voting system, the neighborhood action plan, whatever, which by the way, the only board that exists is in that one neighborhood. You have to vote from your post mailbox in every other neighborhood you're in. So again, a redundant feature where they didn't think to go back and add the board to every other neighborhood. Maybe would have made sense. Anyway, never mind. They also added pollution to the game where the world actually changes on how junk effective it is. But funny, what I think is funny is, again, I think that only works in that single neighborhood that you have to play in. So if you want to build somewhere else, it's a no-go, zone. But anyway, there's this voting system, and some of them are okay, right? So there's like, people should garden more. Okay, for a eco-lifestyle gameplay, I'm with that, right? People should eat vegetarian food. Okay, sure. I don't actually think that is one, but that would kind of make sense, right?
That would make sense.
Because all there is that apart from the everyone should garden, all the other ones are a load of fucking rubbish, because you've got things like everyone has to cook more, right? Well, I think everyone's cooking anyway, so what a waste of time that was. Everyone should drink more. I don't know what that's got to do with eco lifestyle, but never mind. By far the worst one, which you both witnessed.
I know exactly where you're going.
For is everyone has to wear a paper bag over their head in the entire neighborhood. What a stupid thing that you have no control over, especially if it's the first vote, because you have no points. There's another random pointless point system. Yeah, which doesn't really explain how you get the points really, apart from like doing stuff, right? So you do this stuff, you get these points, and then you vote, and it's every 10 points you get like a vote to one of these things, right? And then you can vote to prevent it, or you vote something else in the voting period, which doesn't ever end. It just happens every Friday to Monday. And if you don't have enough points, and the computer, this computer simulated world decides, do you know what? Everyone's voted for paper bags, you're stuck with it, because then you've got to get 5 signatures or however signatures to go against it, and that's impossible because no one likes you enough. You've got to get like a strong relationship with everyone, so then you're stuck playing your playthrough with people playing bags on their heads for like weeks on end because you only have such a limited time to repel it as well.
Yeah, you weren't quick enough to go and put a vote in.
It resets every week. Not just you've got like 4 signatures since then. No, it's gone.
Yeah, I don't get that. I mean, how is that eco-friendly?
It's not user-friendly either.
It's just not anything friendly.
It is by far a feature that sounds good. Yes, you can turn it off so you people can't vote for it. However, what happens then still, even if you turn it off so people can't vote for it, you are then stuck having to still vote for at least one of them every week. Otherwise, it picks a random one anyway.
Now I want to try this, to be fair. I'm looking at the expansion pack and I'm like, do I want to try a playthrough of this?
This is the thing. I think some of them are worth like a playthrough. It's kind of like why Strangerville, which is kind of the one I'm playing with you guys watching at the moment, is it's got like a storyline. It's different. It's got like this kind of a kind of a quest system, which makes sense because it kind of feels like a mystery, right? It's a different type of gameplay style, and that's why I kind of like it. But is it replayable? No, it's not. You're going to do it once with your character, but it adds items, it adds like new things, it adds like the concept there are aliens and whatever. It's kind of cool in its own way. If you're not into doing the storyline, it's not worth it though, at all. It does add like that, but what's funny is like it adds the military career, which existed in the Sims 1 and Sims 2 base games.
It adds okay, interesting.
Yeah, but is that the same in the not the expansion pack, but the stuff pack for which one is it? Is it Moschino? Is that how you pronounce it?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
That adds photography.
It does.
Oh, yeah.
A photography career, but photography is in the base game. Why is the career?
No, it gives you. I think it's like it lets you do like the whole photo shoot stuff versus like being a photographer. I don't think photographers are in the Sims 4 base game, is it?
Yeah. So you can buy
a camera. You can own a camera. I own a camera. You can
buy a camera, and then when you take, even if you use your phone in the game, if you take pictures, you build the photography skill. Now.
Oh, sorry. So you mean like the career versus
No. I don't even think there's a career avenue.
It does. Join a flashy career. Literally, you can have it as you can basically be a fashion photographer.
Yeah, make the world your runway. Venture into fashion photography.
Yeah.
Okay.
Weird. But I think that's the issue with Sims now. It's just like it doesn't care enough. Like I don't know, like EA or with Maxis have just like cut away the base game each time, so you have to like buy stuff. Like between you and I wouldn't mind paying like 60 to 70.
Don't worry, no one else is listening to us. It's just you and us. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just us.
It like for me. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Strangerville Guide. Yeah, military. But like for instance, if EA or Maxis made the game 70 to 80 pounds, and it was like the full suite of game when you first play it, I'd be more inclined to pay it. I think the issue is they keep on like.
That's a bad business model.
No, but they keep on trimming it anyway, and that's half the issue, right? Like
they're not trimming it. To be fair, they update The Sims 4 regularly, so like they do put extra stuff in there. It's just not stuff you want.
Yeah, it's not like the full stuff. Like I don't know, I'm looking at some stuff now, for instance, right? Politician, I'm not really care about. You can be a gardener. You have to get seasons. You can be a scientist or a detective or a doctor, but you need seasons. There's no medical career.
They did add a bunch of careers in that, just part of the base game.
Yeah, they do add I think the freelancing one was made for everyone. I think the freelancing stuff. I think it's really hard to know because you don't
really difficult.
What's in the base. I kind of would like to just install the original one and just see what you get.
But the issue is you install everything now. It's more of like a flick of a switch in the back end, isn't it? You can't say
no. You still download your expansion packs. You still have to download this one. Yeah, it's not all there. You still have to so the For Rent one I bought yesterday to test out for this podcast.
Yeah, specifically for this.
Yeah, it was like 2 gigs, like extra stuff. I think around then. So like it had all that, which is all like the obviously 3D models, the features and stuff like that. So you still have to download to be able to. It's not just an activation thing for it. But the thing is, like we're talking about all this content, but what's funny is that there's still another 15 content things to be released this year for Sims 4.
Which is insane.
We've already had 5. So for the whole year, they're doing 20 releases of stuff. So that's from expansion packs, stuff packs, game packs, and kits, right? That's including all of those. So we haven't yet had any expansion packs this year.
I thought the horse thing was this year.
No, the horse was the end of last year. I think For Rent came out. Rent came out December 7th, and that's the most recent expansion pack. So we yet to have an expansion pack this year. So hopefully it's decent. But yeah, we had For Rent. We've also had let's go game packs. What game packs we had?
I'm getting traumatized by weddings again.
Yeah, I won't look at that. So the last game pack we had werewolves. Actually, that can't be right.
That can't be right.
No, I think it is. I'm literally looking at it and it says that last thing was werewolves.
My wedding. That is actually right. Yeah, but that was in. There's no way that was 2 years ago. It was in 2022.
I think because they're focusing on the stuff packs.
Yeah, stuff packs, which then they just added more stuff to. But then Crystal Creations came out this year. Home Chef Hustle came out this year. No, that came out last year in September. So Crystal Creations was the most recent one, I think. That was, February. So we've had that. And then we had 4 kits then, I believe. Castle State. I saw that recently. Yeah, that was January. Yeah, so and then that would have come with the Goth Galore one. Yeah. So we've had 4 kits and a stuff pack so far this year. And we've got another 15 to go. So yeah. So we've got so that's a lot of content. Just the kits I don't buy because I think
Well, I only get them when I buy the bundle. To be fair,
you kind of you kind of have to, I guess.
No,
you have
to.
Like to get the bundle deal, but like I guess the problem is they don't add gameplay, and I think there's two types of people who play The Sims. There's probably more types if you kind of split up into smaller bits, but there's two.
There's only two.
You can be both as well, by the way, but there's like two types of playstyles. There's you just there for the architecture and the buying mode, the architect, the build mode. That's what you're there for. You just want to build nice houses. That's it, really. You're not interested in the living side of things. Obviously, like I said, you can be both, but you're usually one of these people. And the other one is that you're really into the life sim part of it, and you have your character and you want to play them through the world and through the different content that the expansion packs add, right? The kits are just for those builders. They don't add any gameplay content whatsoever. So they're only going to appeal to that. But at least like in the stuff packs, the game packs and the expansion packs, obviously it adds stuff for both people. So it kind of makes sense why the kits, there's 4 of them, so many this year, because anyone can use them, obviously.
Yeah.
And they're much cheaper to make. They don't require any programming. It's just literally 3D modeling and texturing.
It's just bits.
Yeah.
You're paying money for pixels.
Mm-hmm. That's the issue of it. It's just like the thing I like about Sims 3 is like the like social store.
I'm literally looking at The Sims 3 right now because I just
you could like, I don't know, download other people's clothing, other people's buildings, other people's households, and all that sort of stuff. But they even said that Sims 4 will coexist with The Sims 5, in that they're not planning to get rid of The Sims 4 at any time
they're not.
soon.
They're gonna. Yeah, well, they're gonna. But the problem is they're not gonna. They've done the right thing there, because the problem is when they release Sims 5, they're not gonna have all this content. In fact,
no, agreed.
They seem to have gone some weird direction with I think it's considered weird, where they've only ever really shown off the building stuff and like the customization of like the furniture and stuff like that, which is missing from Sims 4. So it kind of makes sense. That's what they're trying to market. Yep. However, you are missing out a large percentage of the player base if you're not talking about the life mode. Like, it's really bizarre why they've decided to only show off this stuff. And maybe it's because they know, look, if you're not enjoying The Sims 4 because we're missing these features and we hear you, it's coming in the next one. Great. But then it's really not great when actually they've missed in Sims 4. They dumbed down so much life mode stuff that actually they should be talking about what they're changing in The Sims 5 as well. It's really, really bizarre.
I think for them, they can't be asked to do anything. Like, this is the thing that annoys me about like these sorts of games. It's just, you get the base game.
These sorts of games.
Like Hugo, like EA games, like it's unplayable for the first couple of months to like a year. And it's only good when like enough content comes out to kind of support it.
I reject that because I feel like this has gone downhill the longer it's been out.
Yeah.
No, but that's what I mean. Like the Sims 5 will come out and it'll be like base game. There'll be not much to do, and you'll kind of go, okay, this is fun. You do like 3 or 4
What do you mean by
careers.
not much to do? What do you mean by like, you can't expect them to just come out with a new version and be like, well, all the other content's back in now. Here we go.
No, but what I mean is like, I don't know, they could try and do something, for instance, but like I think for me they
could try.
No, but I mean like, they're gonna have like the basic function of like you can play online and you're like, cool. You'd be like, you can decorate your house and you're like, cool. But they won't give anything out on like day one. You won't be able to like, I don't know, start up a business or like do anything like that. It would just be very like base sim games. And I think that's the frustrating thing. Every time you buy a Sims game, you get to a certain point where there's loads of stuff to do. And then you take a step forward and you end up coming back with nothing to do again. Like you lose that building blocks in the previous one.
I actually don't think that's like, I think you're right. Like, yeah, when the new one comes out, but then I think you're also saying that's the same for like an expansion pack as well. Like when you've done an expansion pack, you run out of content to do. But I think that's actually not necessarily true. I just think that, and it comes back to what I said earlier, is that because every single feature they add in these expansion packs is so disjointed, you feel like you've completed the expansion pack rather than it accompanying everything else in the game that already exists, right? And so that's why people have these breaks and stop playing, is because it's so disjointed. And you know, if there was the more randomization, that charm that used to exist, if there was the, you know, more connection between the features and expansion packs, that would also be better. But then also, you know, if they had these systems that just would just they just didn't dump loads of them in and actually thought them out properly, and they were complex in their own right rather than the complexity of there being loads of different ones that don't actually come to anything, it would probably hold people a lot longer.
Yeah.
And those are my 3 pillars of The Sims of what they're doing wrong.
And that's my TED Talk. Tune in next week. Yeah. Well, at least you finally are talking about a real cozy game.
Yeah, I know. It's no EFT, is it? Yeah. EFT is its own problems right now. Never mind The Sims.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Every game we play has its own problems. That's why, Hayley, there are no good games.
Oh shit.
You've discovered you have to be on the podcast to understand it, otherwise you just think we're being negative. I think that's what our listeners think, but it's not true.
I mean, is it wrong? No.
Like, was The Sims 1 a good game? No.
I mean, I'm looking at screenshots and I'm just reminding myself about what this game looks like. Nostalgia.
It was too slow. I started up The Sims 2 the other day, and although it is considered by many and the correct people that it was one of the best Sims games of all times, it has its own problems with the complexity problem, where they've added these features that are like really weird and don't make any sense. Again, that's always been like a Sims problem. This disjointed features and the massive complexity of lots of systems rather than good systems, but it still had that personality. So yeah, all of them don't really hit. Like, each one has its own benefits, but then they also have their negatives compared to each other as well. And EA Maxis have not yet found the middle ground of where they should be yet. And maybe they will in Sims 5, but so far I'm not filled with hope.
I'm not filled with hope either.
I'm just
reminding myself. Oh yeah, let's just do that. Yeah, stop what you're doing. Put realms to the side. Just build your own open world sim. And we'll go after the Sims and see what happens.
Doesn't need all the content to begin with, because no Sims game has that either. Yep. You just keep updating it with features that everyone gets. Job done.
I think you would even play for like a live service Sims, to be honest.
Well, that's what they've tried to do with The Sims 4 being free to play now.
Yeah,
well, but they've also said that Sims 5 is going to be free to play as well, which is terrifying.
Well, that's because they've realised it actually probably makes them more money.
It does.
Yeah, because all the kits, especially if they go down the kit route and stuff like that.
Absolutely. When I think about the amount of money I've sunk into this game, it's actually scary.
Yeah, even in The Sims 3, they had like the online shop, which was disjointed from the game because I think it just downloaded some files you had to dump in a folder, kind of like a paid mod system, I guess. But that's where it all started with that, and they realised they could make a lot more money off smaller things. Because obviously it used to be expansion packs like Sims 1, then they added stuff packs in Sims 2. And then now we have 4 different types of content on top of the base game that you can get. So, yeah.
Do you remember all of the expansion packs for The Sims? And the only reason I'm asking is because I found all of them. Okay, first guess, Tristan. How many expansion packs do you think there were for the original game?
I mean, I've got the expansion packs in front of me, so...
So you're fucking cheating.
I was looking at this before when we were talking about like all the packs and all that sort of stuff, but there's what?
You're disqualified. Ollie, how many do you think there are?
There were 7 expansion packs.
Aw, you guys are no fun.
I think we've all looked at this page that we were talking about it, because it was
What do you mean this page? I'm on freaking Google Images.
I'm on Wikipedia, so okay, there we are.
Oh yeah, that's the epitome of knowledge. All right, living large.
The last one was by far my most memorable one, which was the Making Magic one.
Making Magic. Oh, there's mummies and skeletons. Okay.
But that's the thing. What's funny is that they for that expansion pack, that added all the extra like random, like not randomness. There was other randomness, but like magical randomness, right? But each of those things now is in its own game pack or expansion pack. They don't have one big expansion with all that stuff in.
Yeah, and I'm looking at some of these, and it's like, a lot of these are now in the base game, which is interesting. Just like the gnomes apparently made an appearance in the Making Magic. And then what else we got? Well, Unleashed is self-explanatory.
The only one I never owned was Hot Date.
That was the only one I played, so
yeah,
adds up.
I think I owned I owned all of them, but that one, Sims 2, I think I owned most.
Sims 2.
Yeah, Sims 2 I owned all of them, but I didn't own Apartment Life.
Oh damn, there were a lot of them for Sims 2. That's impressive.
Sims 3 I owned a lot of them. However, I didn't buy Island Paradise and didn't buy Into the Future. I stopped like playing Sims 3 around then because I think I knew the Sims 4 was coming out, so I was like, what's the point? But that's the thing.
Generations. Yeah.
That's only like 3. That's only 4 in.
Yeah, but I think it was just like no, but I did the stuff back instead, which is like
it's freaking Tristan. He probably bought the wrong thing, and he was like, "This game is shit."
Which one had the Katy Perry in? Was that 3?
That was 4.
Nah.
No. That was 3.
Wait, she was in 3 as well.
Yeah, no, she's only in 3, wasn't she?
Yeah, because the super.
There you go. Showtime. There you go.
Showtime. Because it was like a Katy Perry Showtime special thing. Yeah.
Yeah, along with the poster based on the American singer Katy Perry.
But she also was in 4.
She wasn't. Which one was she in 4 in?
You're probably thinking of Get Famous, but it's not her. Like, she's got nothing to do with that one. They learned their lesson not to do stupid things like that. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see anything before.
If you had to pick from each one, because I guess you haven't played 2, so that's kind of hard to say. But let's just say from Sims 4, which is your favorite expansion pack then from Sims 4?
Who's this director? Or is it just both of us? Or?
Whoever thinks of the answer for it first
you
gets to
can
answer
have different
first.
answers as well.
Wait, what?
I know.
Let me just see them in front of myself again.
What's yours, Ollie? I'll let you go first.
Wow, you start with the questioner.
Start with a question you immediately have to answer yourself.
Yeah, I would say it's either City Living or Get to Work. And it's just because, and the funny thing is, for Get to Work, it wouldn't be the 3 extra jobs, the live jobs they gave you, which again, cool system. They've only added 1 since then, which I think is the paranormal one, and maybe the home decorator one as well.
Yeah, the home decorator one is cool.
But it's actually, again, like the business thing, and that's mainly because The Sims 2 Open for Business has the biggest place in my heart of any expansion pack ever. It's by far the best expansion pack they ever added to the game. But City Living, I think, was so different, and they added quite a lot of stuff, like all the different events, like the parties, the kind of like different events in the towns, like they're annoying now kind of things, like because you like constantly get pinged for like, today's this festival, today's this festival, the Nerds Festival, like the funny pranksters one, whatever.
The GeekCon.
Yeah, GeekCon, like that stuff. I think that's quite cool. Adds more to do in the open world, which for some reason they still haven't followed up with in most of the other ones as well. The apartment thing, how they did it isn't perfect, but it's still cool. They still added apartments quite early on in the Sims lifestyle. And then I like the idea, again, I do a lot of like cooking playthroughs. So I like the idea that when you go to these stalls and you try the food, that's when you learn the recipe.
Yeah, that is cool.
That's a cool, and that's what Sims 4 does actually quite well, is collectibles actually. Not all of them are like perfect, again, like weird ways to get them, but actually like that's a cool way to learn something and try food. So you can actually cook dim sum because you went to the stall to try it out.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think for me, it's probably Get to Work. Just looking at I think for me, it's just like the fact you can create shops and all that sort of stuff, it feels like you can kind of do more of it. And obviously now the fact you can kind of create your own coffee shop or your own bakery really helps as well.
Yeah, the only reason why I said that was part of my listing, but they didn't do it properly, is that you can't have it on your own lot. And that's why it's not a good expansion pack, in my opinion, because they kind of ruined that particular feature that makes it difficult to run your own business.
Well, so yeah, bing bong, fuck you.
No, but I was gonna say it's like weird because like the rent stuff, I thought it'd be really cool if you could like how there's apartments in England where you've got like the bottom level is just a shop, then the top level is like apartments.
Yes, that's what they should have done.
That'd been great.
But they should have. What they've done is they should have. Again, this is like the for rent thing where they've now effectively holding off this system where you can have multiple lots inside of a lot kind of thing.
Yeah,
and they've kind of held it off on this expansion pack, and then not thought about any of the previous expansion packs and how they could actually make it better, such as the Get to Work one. That would honestly, I bet people who weren't interested in the renting thing, which I don't care so much. I just like the idea. It gives you a bit more creative freedom on how you build certain things. Like you can have a neighbor who lives above you or next to you, right? I kind of like that idea in your own design, and you can earn money from it, or you pay them, whatever. But it's the fact that they could have people would have bought it because then you could have had your own bakery below your house. Like that would have 100% sold. Or his idea, they just fix it so you don't have to buy a new lot for your business. That would solve a lot of problems as well.
What about you, Hayley?
Definitely seasons, because it made the day-to-day so much more interesting. So like, I don't know, like having a giant swooping feature is nice and all, but it's almost like the novelty wears off. So like for Get to Work for me, it was really cool. But once you had done a playthrough of one of the professions, you were kind of like, all right, fine, done that, bored now. Versus I find having seasons in, it just makes it more interesting on the day-to-day with the more of the calendar events and just like, all these like bugbear, all of your personality traits that can come into play on whether or not you enjoy the different seasons. And it's just interesting.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. So, question then for everyone. If you had to make your own like expansion / addition to The Sims, what would it be?
I know yours is going to be fucking mechs.
Yeah. Are you saying that hasn't already been done? Is that what you're saying?
No, it can be something that's already been done, or it's basically like your own expansion pack if you had to choose one. Like, I've got one in the back of my head that I think.
Yeah, it's called Tristan Creswell wants to be a mech. Warhammer expansion.
Why don't you go first this time?
Yeah, go.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I was gonna say it'd be cool to have like a proper like Get to Work criminal career where you could like break into houses, steal stuff, and then kind of like create like a criminal underworld sort of thing. So there's like a black market you can go and buy.
You want a gangster?
Yeah, wants the GTA mod.
Yeah. No, but like not to that extent. But like it could be like you can like break into houses. You can be like the thief that you have to deal with in the other Sims one. You can like steal stuff. Like you could have that whole like bad streak to you, and yeah, that'd be kind of cool to kind of do as like an expansion or as like a playthrough, and you can like have trophies in your house of like things you've stolen or like sell stuff on the black market for cheaper.
The black market.
No, but you get what I mean. Like that would be kind of fun and like make it an interactive career. So like there's a museum you can break into as one of the like higher level things. You gotta like sneak through lasers and stuff like that. But you go to jail every time you mess up and you have to pay a fine or that sort of stuff. Like that would be kind of fun.
What is it? Frickin' Skyrim? Okay, so what are you calling?
I would call it like Sims for Law and Order. Like you could play as a lawyer or you could play as like a criminal. Like that'd be kind of fun.
What about as law enforcement? Was that
because what would you do on the
I mean, you could do law enforcement. Like you'd be a police officer who goes on patrol. Like, and this is if it was like the old Sims 3 world, which is like it's more open, so you can go on patrol. You can like find clues. It's almost like the Strangerville stuff, but each town has their own little like investigation to perform. Like that would be kind of cool.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
What would yours be, Hayley, to counter that?
I'm trying to think about what I would like to do in Sims. I don't know about a specific expansion pack, but I think I would just add more into the Get to Work, like the different career trees. Like I just feel like I would fluff it out a little bit. Like instead of because I think right now, like when you pick a specific career, there's only 2 branches you can go down. I think I would just add more to the different branches so that way like the replayability goes up because you're like, oh, okay, I'll be a criminal this time because just guess what, Tristan, you can be a criminal in the base game. But then I can choose what kind of criminal I want to be. I can either apparently be an art thief or sell my drugs on the black market or just be a petty thief or something to that level. But basically just like expand the career system to be a little bit more like, I don't know, personalized to a degree.
So in like businesses, you could like be like I think it's like you're like a boss or like a corporate drone, and you do like another one. You can maybe have like start your own business or something like that.
I don't know, just like looking at all the base professions and then just having more customized, I don't know, options that you can go down. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
What about you, Ollie?
So I can't really think of one that I really want. It's been like a long time plan it out.
Yeah.
But I think something that, again, now this is the 4th iteration of something they've already got in The Sims 4. So this would be a hotel expansion pack where you could run your own hotel, okay? And For Rent kind of do it, but badly. And again, you don't own those rooms. Like you want to rent out the different rooms and stuff like that, so you don't have like this locked out thing. So yeah, effectively, you could. It takes on like that element of For Rent. Where you like set the price of your rooms. Again, takes off the features from like the restaurant game packs there have been where you can run your own restaurants. You have to have that as well. Take on the other like island adventure, the camping one, because it depends where you'd run this hotel, wherever, it doesn't really matter. But a B&B in one of the original neighborhoods, again, doesn't make a difference. But it would basically be an expansion that amalgamates all this into kind of a perfect thing around the story of running a hotel, basically. And you get like inspected and rated on your rooms and stuff like that. And you want to like build up your hotel to get like the 5-star rating, kind of like Fame was in the super whatever expansion pack. So again,
Get famous.
They get famous. So it kind of uses all these different features from other expansion packs and actually makes them amalgamated into one and interesting for that, and makes you work towards something. And again, it fills the thing that people can build their own hotel, but then also you've got the life sim where you're actually trying to manage the hotel. You've got to hire staff, which again is a feature in the other expansion packs. They got to run the restaurant, cook, clean the rooms, and you're managing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I think that sounds like fun. I like how me and you are like, yeah, more careers, like more customized. Like, yeah, that's great. Tristan, espionage.
Espionage. There already is a spy. You can already go down the spy.
Yeah, you could do that, Tristan. You could already be a spy.
No, but like it's more like fleshed out, like compared to you just go and click on a screen and then your character's going for like 8 hours.
Sims 5 Criminal Underworld.
Literally. Yeah, no, like that sort of stuff is like kind of fun. Like I don't know, it's just, like you said, it's more depth versus breadth. So yeah, I think you're
Stop using jargon on this. It's just there's more shit to do.
He's trying to take my 3 pillars and make it so he can sell his expansion pack. That's what he's trying
to do. Exactly. Yeah.
They're my pillars.
They're my pillars. You can't have them.
They're holding up my hotel, not your criminal.
No, I'm digging under them, trying to like fucking steal them. It's like this.
He's trying to find the black market to sell his drugs.
Yeah, underneath the hotel.
Well, I could talk about Sims for a long time. Yeah, this has been great to have you on the podcast, Hayley, to give your expertise and to balance out what would have been a massive argument probably for an hour and a bit. So thank you very much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. Always like talking about The Sims. Probably going to go play some later, so all
That's
good.
That means we've done our job well, where we've made you want to play a game, even though we've just discussed all the flaws it has.
Well, that should prove, even with all those flaws, I'm still willing to go play it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you were listening at home and you play The Sims and you have your own thoughts, maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, remember to email in at podcasts@dungeoneers.tv. You can also email us if you have a game that's kind of like The Sims, that you have a love-hate relationship like us, and do let us know what your thoughts are on that as well. But thank you for joining us. I've been Ollie.
I've been Tristan.
And I have never done this outro before. I'm Hayley. Goodbye.
We never did this outro before as well. I came up with it.
Yeah, it's the first one. Remember, we also have a Ko-fi channel link, which will be below. And if we hit 200 buccarinos, we're going to do a weekly There Are No Good Games podcast. And we'll go from there.
Holy
Bye-bye.
shit.
It's big.
That's big.